So I came across a post on LinkedIn today from a talent acquisition manager who shared a job application that was sent to him by an actual company. And it's so unbelievable that I had to share it with you on this channel. So a little bit of context about this. This guy was being apparently recruited by some international company. And I'll read just a little bit of his post. So he says, I was sent this pre-screen form to fill out for a US-based remote role. So this position was based in the United States and it's a remote position. In theory, you could sit anywhere. The company itself is international. I don't think we know what company it is or what country it's from. Regardless, a company that is recruiting in a certain geographic area, in other words, it's a company that sits in, say, India or China or in Europe or whatever. If they advertise and solicit candidates from the United States, they still have to adhere to those rules and regulations, the laws of that particular country or domicile. Yes, this is a real form, and it was sent to him by this company's HR department. So it sounds to me like they don't have a talent acquisition department. It's handled by human resources, which is, if it's a reputable company, that's going to be a red flag. So keep that one in mind. If you're dealing directly with a human resources rep or department, a lot of times it'll happen like in a factory setting where it'll be very localized recruiting. That's pretty common. But if it's a large corporation and they don't have a talent acquisition department and it's being handled by human resources, then I would say be a little aware that it might be a scammy role or could potentially not be that high of a quality of employer. Whether the sender is an actual employer, he says, I'm still not sure, but they do seem to exist. So I wish I had context for who this company is so we could vet it out a little further. It could be spam, so I'll be the first to admit this could be a trolling, or although I mean I don't know why they would troll this guy. It kind of seems like random, or it could be a scam, I guess. So we'll put that out there as a disclaimer, since we don't have enough information to say that for sure. We're just going to go based on, just going to claim ignorance for this particular employer. Says, like I said, they aren't U.S. based, and apparently they do need this info if they were to sponsor a visa for somebody to work in the country that they are in. I did reply saying these type of questions could lead to some issues with anti-discrimination laws and that they needed to consult somebody, as he's not an employment lawyer. It's still pretty wild. So let's use this for entertainment value. Let's just assume that this company, I guess, it is in an area that doesn't have a lot of employment law regarding discrimination, but nonetheless, it's a doozy. So he shares the form that was sent over to him, and it's required to fill out and send back to them as part of their application process. So I don't know if he's using an ATS system. So that's kind of another red flag, is there's no ATS systems. And if they send over a form manually like this and they have you fill this all out and it's not part of an ATS or an online application, that's also another red flag. If you see these two things, I would be certainly trying to vet the opportunity, make sure that there's actual real people working there, maybe cross-reference it directly with their corporate website, just to make sure that you're not getting scammed on any level, and be very aware if they try to ask you to cash any checks or to pay for anything yourself. Just keep your radar going when you're seeing things like this, because this is lots of red flags. So again, for the fun of it, let's just kind of go through and we'll count how many illegal questions are asked in this span of 12 questions, or roughly however many they got here. So first things first, let's see. What is your available joining date? Okay, that's kind of a standard question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about full-time remote position? Kind of it's not a legal question, but it's a very strange question. Like, why would you ask that in an application? I would assume that if this guy applied for this job, that he's highly serious about a remote position. So I don't know why they need to ask that, but not illegal nonetheless. So next we have reason for leaving current or past employer. That's totally legit. They can ask that question. That's not a big deal. Now, number 4 is, what is your civil or marital status? And it says single, married, divorced, separated. Then even announcing that you have a significant other. I've never even heard of having to announce that, like, you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, etc., significant other they want you to disclose. And then the best part about it is they say, add any comments if you want to give us any additional context, as if you need to discuss the fact that you got divorced or you're separated with some random employer that you've never met before, and have this discussion with them, share your deepest, darkest, personal information with them. So obviously, asking marital status is completely illegal, has absolutely no bearing on the ability to do the job. And in the United States, you can't ask this question. So again, assuming that this is let's just play along and say this is a legit employer, which I really don't think it is, but if it's a legit employer, this is absolutely going to be legal hot water for that question. And then they continue with this personal relationship stuff. I mean, of course, the next question is, do you have any kids? And if yes, how many minors? First of all, asking if you have kids or have a family is completely illegal. It's highly illegal. And asking to clarify the ages of them. And then, of course, they take it a step further, and this is the reason why it's illegal, is do you have childcare for your children during working hours? Because what ends up happening is employers have been known to discriminate against people who have kids because they feel like they take more days off, they have to go and pick kids up from school if they get sick, etc. There's a lot of daycare issues. You can't not hire somebody because of a perceived daycare issue or whatever else. Or even if it's your family planning, you're pregnant, you can't, there's laws in the United States where you cannot discriminate against somebody based on their family status or their whether or not they have kids. Because again, the question should be, if they really wanted to know about the daycare situation, what they would need to ask is, this position requires you to work this set schedule to this set schedule, or these hours, or requires you to be able to meet these conditions. And you have to answer, the question should say, are you able to meet that requirement? And then you'd either answer yes or no. So they can't ask you directly whether or not you have children, or if you have kids, or if you're pregnant, or you're planning to get married, or you're planning to have a family, or any of that stuff. That's all illegal. That's how they have to ask it. They have to give you the condition and why they need somebody to be able to work these hours, and can you meet that requirement? So then next we have, what is the passport? What passports do you hold, and nationality, and so nationalities. And then it says, is your passport currently valid for travel? Please include expiration date of passport. Now, on one level, there could be a requirement for international travel. Maybe you have to travel to China, and you have to be able to get into the country. So that could be, I guess, valid. Where the shade of gray on this one is, especially from nationality, is disclosing your national origin in the United States is an illegal question. So again, the question should be asked, this position will require you to travel to and from China on a regular basis. Are you able to meet that requirement? Yes or no? So them asking what passports you have and then the nationality is where it gets to be legal hot water. So that's that's more of a subtle one, but certainly illegal in every case in the United States. Then, of course, the next question directly asks why the previous one was illegal. Is a country of birth or country of origin. This is absolutely directly illegal. This is listed out in every EEOC statement. Country of origin, ethnicity, country of birth has no bearing on your ability to do the job, assuming you're allowed to work in the country that you're applying to. So how this question should read is, are you legally able to work in this country without sponsorship? And that's how you would get around the country of origin. Again, asking country of origin questions are completely illegal because, again, it doesn't have any bearing on your ability to do the job. Then the next is kindly, after you've already disclosed all of this other stuff, kindly indicate your present location, city, and country. And I would say that one is perfectly valid. In every application, you're going to be asked your location, so there's nothing wrong with that. Then the next one is age discrimination. They're asking for your age, and they say it's for visa purposes. Now, I don't know what the visa requirements are in other countries, and what their immigration statuses are, and how it works. And if the company's based in some European country and they're hiring somebody out of the United States, they have to be able to operate or to have an entity doing business in both places. And I'm thinking maybe there could be a valid reason for that in their country. However, on an application in the United States, this is completely illegal, and I think it's pretty obvious why, if of course ageism. So I don't know how they would get around that particular requirement, because you can't ask that question in the United States. So if this is indeed a requirement of theirs, they may have to revisit whether or not they can hire people in the United States, because it just seems like there's just so much here. Of course, the next one is religion, visa purposes. If the religion was different at the time of birth, please provide further details. So not only do they want to know what religion you are, but if you've ever changed religions, or whatever your status is, basically they want to know every single thing personally about you. And obviously, the religion is also a protected class. You cannot discriminate against somebody based on their religion. And I maybe they're trying to figure out if maybe you're Muslim and you need to pray at different times in the day. I mean, I just don't know why they would ask that, and why that would be related to a visa purpose. Again, if this is a legit posting, I can't tell what country it's from, and I don't know what their requirements are. Then the next is, what is your height and weight? And I see these, when I look at resumes, I should say, from India, from a lot of the Asian Pacific countries, some in Mexico and in South America, I do see people self-reporting their age, weight, and marital status. So I'm starting to suspect, if this is indeed a legit job posting, that maybe it's from one of those countries. So height and weight are a little bit of kind of a shade of gray, because they're not directly illegal, but according to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, what they're saying about height and weight is height and weight requirements tend to disproportionately limit the employment opportunities of some protected groups. And unless the employer can demonstrate how the need is related to the job, it may be viewed as illegal under federal law. A number of states and local municipalities have laws specifically prohibiting discrimination based on height and weight, unless it's an actual job requirement. Therefore, unless job-related inquiries about height and weight should be avoided. So they've also got that one. And then, do you have any medical conditions? If so, please elaborate. Mention the type of medications you're taking. Maybe give me an entire medical history. If you have any surgeries coming up. It's like, I mean, literally, the amount of invasive questions that they're asking in a series of 12 is actually pretty remarkable. This is almost like a play bingo with illegal questions. I think you could get bingo by probably number 7. And it's almost so bad that I gotta wonder if they're trolling this guy. And again, he seems legit. I mean, he seems like a normal guy. He's a recruiting leader, and he's looking for a job. So he's probably applying to these positions in this company. Maybe he applied to a shady company. It's either a very unprofessional company, or they're either trying to scam him, like this is some sort of a scam, or I guess they're trying to troll him. But in any way, all 3 of those options are completely red flag employers, and we should be avoiding them anyway. So this is an extreme example, I realize that, but this kind of goes to show what illegal questions are and why you can't ask them. And if you do see these in a job application, or you're sitting in a job interview and you're asked any combination of these, or in any type of variation, it could be considered illegal. So keep your radar up if you're seeing these types of things, because you want to focus on the best quality employers. Certainly, this is not going to be an employer that this person will want to be pursuing. And we want to make sure that we're avoiding any possible scams, because unfortunately, I've seen an increase in people getting scammed based on some shady stuff, and this just has scam written all over it. So anyway, I thought this was a fun one to kind of go through. Again, I don't quite believe that this is a legit application, so it's a fun exercise to go through, and he seems to be getting a lot of people chiming in on the validity of this one. But if you're struggling in your job search and you're dealing with very low quality employers like this, that's actually something that I do specialize in. I've got a website called lifeafterlayoff.com, and it's loaded with tips and tricks, all from an insider recruiting professional. I peel back the curtain behind major corporations' hiring processes and kind of give you the entire gamut. It's no holding back. I share everything so that you can use it to your advantage to hopefully land a job with more authority and conviction. Do that through some training courses. I have a resume training course. You should learn how to write your own resume. If you want to skip these kind of employers, they have a good resume, a good LinkedIn presence, and certainly a good job search strategy are all going to be required. So I've got some courses for those. You can go over to my website and check them out. Or if you're really struggling, I do offer some limited private one-on-one coaching. You can check me out on my website for there. But anyway, keep your eyes peeled for these low quality employers. This one has made it pretty easy to pick out, but some of them are a little sneaky, so you got to pay attention. But hopefully it will give you enough information here so that you can start to spot these low quality employers and avoid any issues going forward. And like always, appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next one.